Hey Jackson, here's a rundown of everything we did today. First, the guitar, the body, the bridge, the strings, the sound hole, the fretboard, the frets, the fret markings are these dots, the nut, the tuning pegs, the tuners. This as a unit is called the headstock. This as a unit is called the neck. And then this altogether is called the body. To make a sound, hit one of the strings with your right hand or your left hand. To stop it, rest the edge of your palm on the strings here, or gently touch the strings with any of your other fingers. Practice being able to play without making a sound. This is good for getting rhythm of your right hand. Or can you do it with your right hand without making a sound? Posture is really important when you play the guitar. Not only the way that you're sitting up straight, but also the way that you hold your hand in your arms. In general, the more tension you have in your muscles, the worse it's going to sound and the worse you're going to feel at the end of a practice session or a show. The way that it's traditionally taught to hold the guitar in your left hand is to have the pad of your thumb resting perpendicular to the neck at the thickest point. And then to have your fingers perpendicular to the fretboard. So you'd play a chord and it would look something like this, or like that. Now that's not always comfortable. It works great for playing single notes, as you can get really good speed and dexterity having your thumb back there just loosely touching. But for big chords, people like to rest the guitar neck in the crook of their hand so they can get a really good grip on it. Now the thumb usually just sits there and does nothing except help with gripping, but sometimes people like to play the bottom notes using their thumb, which can help too. Personal preference. The most important part is keeping the tension low. So if I'm playing this E minor chord, I'm trying to press it with as little tension as I can while still getting a good sound. And I'm trying to keep my arm as loose as possible. Remember, you're a guitar player, you're supposed to look cool and casual. Let's keep things loose. The strings are tuned E, A, D, G, B, E. Okay, now to the theory. The chromatic scale. This is all possible notes, i.e. all 12 of them. Before you get back to where you started. To do a major scale, it's a pattern of whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, and then a half step to get back to the top where you started. To make a major chord, combine in any order the 1, 3, and 5 of the major scale. For A, that would be A, C sharp, E. For a minor chord, lower or flatten the third of a major chord. So in this case, that would be A, C natural, which is the flattened third, and still E, in any order. Here's an example of each of those. The major scale in A. An A chord, A, C sharp, E. Or in a different order. How about E, A, then C sharp? Same chord. Minor chord, lower that C sharp to a C. Okay, when you have a chord that includes open strings, i.e. a string that you aren't fretting, that's called an open chord. Examples of that are D, A. That sheet that you took with you has all of them listed, the folding package. The ones that I'd want you to learn are the ones that I listed as the easy chords. Any of the intermediate chord D, It's a good one. Comes up a lot. Oh, yeah. Exercises. For getting fluid with your chords, as you learn chords, practice going between all of them in every variation. If you now know E minor and D, how quickly can you go between them? How cleanly can you make the notes sound? If you have something that's buzzing, play each note individually until you find the offending finger that's causing you problems. And then once you get good enough playing those chords, put some rhythm to it. And switch between chords. Practice that. Now you're playing a song. For finger strength, chords will do good for you, but they're not going to help you when you have to play individual notes. Here was the exercise that I was showing you. So that would be preferably keeping those fingers down as you layer more on. Just to get a good habit of doing it, really. It's not necessary. I can play this note without having all the fingers behind it. In fact, laying any fingers behind it makes no difference whatsoever to what it sounds like. But it's a good habit to get into. As you get good at that, also go backwards. Going down by a fret at a time. If you get really good at that, try doing it on different strings. And so on. Don't worry about going too fast. Just get the sound good. That's the most important part. How to hold a pick. Right. I like to have my fingers and thumb pointing in opposite directions, like this. And then you can just slot the pick in at a 90-degree angle to those. Like that. So it's perpendicular to my thumb and my finger. As you play and get more used to the feeling of the pick hitting the strings, you might adjust the angle slightly. If I'm playing really fast or something really hard, I sometimes bring two fingers in and hold them more like this, just because it lets me play harder and have a better grip on it. But for individual notes, this is the most accurate way to play. That's about all I can remember from our lesson tonight. Let me know if you have any questions. See you next week.